Lynn Aaron and Louise, no middle name, House Aaron owners. Another demolition at 2105 Brook Street, Mark Anthony Guillory owner. Another demolition at 50 Brook Street, Doris Ann Anderson, Joseph Lange Anderson, David Wayne Goodwin, and Vera Rice estate owners. Another demolition at 211 North Hodges Street, accessory building only. Another demolition at 2610 Ernest Street, accessory back structure only. Carmen Martinez, owner. Another demolition at 1538 Iowa Street, Clara Letha Fletcher Duhan, owner. Another demolition at 832 North Shattuck Street, Azucena Madrigal, owner. Another demolition at 2209 East Church Street, Tyson Letlow Homes, LLC, owner. Another demolition at 1402 Pine Street, DLM Investment Properties, LLC, owner. Another demolition at 1715 9th Avenue, Herman Washington Estate, and Mary Lou Washington, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. Another demolition at 614 Blake Street, Larry Miller and Joanne LeBlanc Miller, owners. Another demolition at 4027 Louisiana Avenue, SGC Enterprises, LLC, owner. Another demolition at 1516 Brick Street, Arian Alfred, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. Ordinances for final action. An ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to purchase property bearing Calcasieu Parish Assessors Parcel Number 004257028 from the record owner. An ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to purchase property bearing Calcasieu Parish Assessors Parcel Number 004257002B from the record owner. An ordinance accepting the best proposal received for renewal coverage and authorizing the City of Lake Charles to enter into an agreement for property and casualty insurance for the City of Lake Charles effective May 22nd, 2025 through May 22nd, 2026. Introduction and final action of an ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to enter into a professional services agreement with Utility Incorporated Body Worn for a cloud-based in-car body cam interview room system for use by the Lake Charles Police Department. A resolution appointing a member to the Chenault International Airport Authority Board for a 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2029. A resolution accepting project number LCR 404 Vietnam Veterans Memorial as substantially complete and authorizing the advertising of the 45-day lien period. A resolution accepting project number CP 3386 2020 asphalt overlays as substantially complete and authorizing the advertising of the 45-day lien period. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 2015 5th Street. Date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1609 Simmons Street. Ordinance and Natalia Ferrero Ordinance, owners, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1029 Gulf Street, garage only, Eva Mae White, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 3012 General Patton, Willie Morris Smith Senior Estate, and Jean Mitchell Smith, owners, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 104 North Mall Street, Edgar Madrigal, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 2120 4th Street, garage only, April Monique Ozane Valerie, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 103 North Prater Street, Wilmer Charles Grice Sr. and Jermaine Vital Grice, owners, with the companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1630 Gifford Street, Deanie L. Jones Montgomery, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 2611 General Patch, David Nanette Melcher, Renee, Lyman, Vanessa, Madison, and Derek Anthony Guidry, owners, with a companion ordinance. A resolution authorizing the City of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids for project number CP 3257 Sally Mae Medora to Dead End Phase 2, with a companion ordinance. A resolution authorizing the City of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids for project number CP 3507 Lake Charles Event Center Green Rooms, with a companion ordinance. A resolution authorizing the City of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids for project number CP 3502 Kirby and Hodges Street Sidewalk Repairs, with a companion ordinance. A resolution authorizing the City of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids for project number LCR 409 Buddy Prejean Park Enhancements, with the companion ordinance. Ordinances for introduction. Introduction of an ordinance requiring that good faith efforts be made to include African American nominees in consideration for each of the 3 appointments to the Southwest Louisiana Convention and Visitors Bureau Board of Directors appointed by the City Council for the City of Lake Charles. Introduction of an ordinance amending the operating and capital budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year relative to additional expenditures for the construction of project number DR009 Lake Charles, LCPD Annex. Introduction of an ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to submit an application to the Calcasieu Parish Road and Drainage Trust Fund and if granted to execute any and all agreements in connection therewith. Introduction of an ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the State of Louisiana for $1 million in water grants for projects submitted by the City of Lake Charles, and further to authorize budget amendments as necessary to fulfill local matches for the funding. Introduction of an ordinance enlarging the boundaries of the City of Lake Charles, Louisiana by annexing property generally described as the east side of the 3500 block of Knight Lane, containing 2.4 acres, more or less, defining with certainty and precision the territory to be included in the corporate limits of the City of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Introduction of an ordinance assigning zoning classification of business to property generally described as the east side of the 3500 block of Knight Lane, containing 2.48 acres, more or less, defining with certainty and precision the territory to be included in the corporate limits of the City of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Introduction of an ordinance assigning Councilmanic District E to the east side of the 3500 block of Knight Lane, containing 2.48 acres, more or less, defining with certainty and precision the territory to be included in the corporate limits of the City of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Introduction of an ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to purchase property located on Highway 90 north of O.D. Johnson Sports Complex from the record owner. The rest of these that are on the list are all companion ordinances, and I have one more item to read in. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lake Charles ratifying the provisions of the Lake Charles Police Department policies pertaining to city police officers' utilization of mobile video and body-worn cameras that are currently in effect, and as it may be amended in the future. And that's the last one.
All righty. Mr. Weather.
I don't have anything tonight.
Mr. Eckert.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Ayu.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Guillen.
Yes, I have only one concern. At the corner of 7th Avenue and 12th Street, there's a very foul odor coming, which appears to be sewer. And it's really bad, so we need some immediate attention to that as fast as we can. And that's all I have.
Mr. Harden.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a couple of things. If possible, I don't know if the person is here tonight. He said he would come, but if not, could we look into the 500 block of Labata Street? I had a resident who called, who's been a lifelong resident, just concerned about possible illegal activity, but also maybe some property standards violations. And he didn't want to go into detail and say a specific address, but he did want us to take a look into it. I did go down there. There's some things that I think the residents can do better. I'm not sure if it's really a city issue, but if we could just check just to make sure we don't have any violations. That was the 500 block of Labata Street. Do we have an update? I know a couple weeks ago I spoke and questioned the repair work on Shattuck Street. I've noticed I drive that street every day. The potholes are getting worse. The overlay part is just it's deteriorating as we see. It's like a roller coaster going on that street. I know we said we would check into the vendor who was supposed to complete that work. Do we have any updates?
Mr. Harvey, I do not, and Ms. Downs not here today, but I can get you information on it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And that's the entire, that's from coming off the Shattuck Street overpass all the way until you get to Catherine Street.
Yes, sir.
The overlays are serious need of some things. Also, a couple months ago, I requested, in preparation for summertime, knowing that we're going to have several juveniles frequenting the streets, they're going to have a lot of downtime with school being out, but the areas along Opelousas, Moline, Shattuck, Simmons, Prater are in need of some serious street lighting. I actually canvassed the area a couple times. Some of the lights are out, some of them are working, but we may just need to look into adding additional lights, especially at the intersections. There's some very, very, very dark corners. Specifically, I want to speak to an intersection on Moline and Booker Street. As we know, there's a store there, but that's an area that's really, really dark at nighttime. Just some areas I just feel like, just also the intersection of Simmons and Moline, pretty much every intersection of all those streets, there's some very, very bad corners, including Moline and Cherry, where they have a very popular restaurant there. Traffic tends to back up sometimes. I just think it would be a great idea to try to look into the lighting situation on those streets. Again, going back to some of the things that we repeated before, but these post-construction jobs, hats off to the things that we did with putting the signage up, explaining to the constituents about how much money we spent in these particular areas. But I do want to ask the question, when do we know that these jobs are complete? Because sometimes we see work crews at these particular sites and then they're gone. Seems like the work is complete, but there's old concrete, old rubble, dirt piles that's left there for weeks on weeks without any action. Is there some type of communication between the vendor and the city that marks the end or the termination of work complete?
Yes, sir, and I think, Mr. Harvey, it depends on the type of job and the size of the job. If it's a job with an architect, when that job is finished, they send us a notice that the job is complete, and that's when we put it on the agenda. You might be talking about smaller jobs where people come in there and do work on our streets, and they're patching the roadway, and there is no architect or engineer on that job. And yes, they're supposed to contact us, they pull permits. And when you brought that, I think you brought this up before, I said that we'd start sending a staff member out there to try to follow up on those particular jobs if they got permits.
Gotcha.
Sometimes they do some of this work and they don't get permits, and we got to catch them.
Gotcha. And the only reason I'm just concerned about that, because like I'm just starting to notice some of these areas, like with the overlays,
Yes,
you
sir.
had a lot of crews out there, and then for the last couple of weeks, just so I know, like when I get calls, I'm obviously I want to play the middle guy, but I don't want to blame the department. I don't want to blame the constituent, but it's kind of like increasing as far as they say, hey, we keep calling, we're not getting the answer.
I think that was a reference to the mayor's action line. Are we tracking it? Kimberly, can you?
Yeah, so we are tracking the calls that come in to the mayor's action line, and we can show who or what department they're being referred to. If a resident is calling a department directly, we won't have access to those numbers,
Okay.
but we can give information as to who's calling and what department it's being referred to, because that's what we do. We collect it and distribute it to the most appropriate department.
So what would be a,
Yeah, no, it's not by district.
Not
Yeah,
by
it's not by
district, it's
district.
citywide.
Just
and the only reason I'm asking is because I'm just, when we're responding to the public, I just want to be able to say, okay, hey, you call. But I guess, is there a message I can convey back to them and say, hey, someone is going to return your call back within 48 hours or 24 hours or 36 hours or?
So it just, when they call the mayor's action line, someone is there to pick up immediately. Or if they email, they
But
get
I think
responded
what's
to that
happening
day.
is most constituents, and this may not be true, I'm just telling you what the narrative is. They call the mayor's action hotline and they refer them to somebody else in a different department. And then that department say, hey, well, you need to go to this department. And it's almost like people are playing tag. They're
Yeah.
not getting the solution or the answer they're looking for.
So the process is, when we refer to that department, for instance, I'll just pick on public works. If someone calls and says something about their trash can, the person answering the line will refer to public works. Either they'll transfer the call directly or email them if it comes in as an email.
Gotcha.
And then within 3 days, 3 business working days, the mayor's action line staff member will call back to that department to confirm that someone has at least made contact with the resident.
Gotcha.
Doesn't mean that the problem will be solved, but we're checking to see at least has contact been made with the person who complained. And they'll say yes or no, and, we'll document that information.
Okay.
But if they call a department and that department transfers, we don't have access to that information, nor, like I said, do we have access to information if they call the department directly. So what the citizens may be complaining about, I'm not certain, but we do have a tracking mechanism if they call the mayor's action line.
And that's the only reason I asked.
Mr.
That's
Harvey,
going to
I'd
be
like-
my response to constituents is that, hey, like your call is being tracked. I just don't want it to be a constant buildup of,
Yeah,
hey, I've been calling.
What I'd appreciate is, after, I think last month you brought this up, and we had a meeting with the person on the 10th floor who takes the calls to the mayor's action line to make sure there's a clear understanding of how it's supposed to be implemented. And also at our department head meeting, we had a meeting with our department heads, and we told them the same thing: remind your employees you've got 3 days to respond, even though you might not have an answer because it can't be resolved. But you call the individual back and say, this is where it's going, this is where it's heading. So if that's not happening, if you let us know, we will try to correct it. But we had that meeting to try to make sure it was corrected.
they can say what department it's specifically that's creating the problems. It will help to be able to track it down.
Gotcha. And again, that's all. It's not so bad things happen. The good things, I'm always gonna try to end on a good note. And I know I probably don't do this enough. I probably come across like I'm complaining, but I promise I'm not. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Ms. Emily. Ms. Emily took the time this week and thoroughly explained some things from the financial side of the city business that I previously did not know. So Ms. Emily, I appreciate that masterclass. I'm sorry for asking so many questions, but I truly appreciate you. And also, I know I probably don't do this enough. I know this is not really us, but I had a very dear friend who lost her grandbaby this weekend. And in the midst of the conversation, it was special shout outs to the Lake Charles Police Department, Lake Charles Fire Department, who got to the residents and tried everything they could do to revive the baby. So I know a lot of times you guys get beat up publicly, but I can say in the midst of a heartbreaking situation, they spoke very highly of Acadiana Ambulance and LCPD and the Lake Charles Fire Department. So on behalf of that family, I truly appreciate what you guys do. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Ms. Harvey.
Mr. Morgan, I guess this would be addressed to you. I've gotten several calls concerning cars with these long, I guess, spikes or whatever they are. They are concerned for, should they park close, or, can they park close on the parking lot with these things hanging out? Can they walk on narrow streets? where they don't have sidewalks and these cars are passing. It's just a general concern, and I'm wondering, are they in compliance with the law? You know, we've stopped people, giving them tickets for tinted windshields, and so this looks like something out of an old movie with the chariot that's gonna wreck into another chariot and destroy it. So, what are there any?
They are allowed. There is a limit on how long they can be. I can't tell you right now what that limit is. If it's Chief may know, but 8 inches, 12 inches.
102 inches overall wheelbase.
Is there a specific one for how long the what are those called? Curves?
So there's no actual specific one for the rim itself that sticks out that they put on the car, but the overall wheelbase of the car to safely maintain a single lane of travel cannot exceed 102 inches in total.
That's from the inside of the wheel into the outside of the spinner, right?
Outside to outside.
Oh,
So it'd
over
be
the width of the car.
outside of the outside rim on the driver's side to the outside of the rim on the passenger side cannot exceed 102 inches to safely maintain a single lane.
Pretty good.
It's a big spot.
So I suppose it's legal then, right?
As long as it's underneath 102 inches, it would be legal. The only other way we have to enforce anything like that would be and failure to maintain a lane of travel. If those rims cross over, it doesn't have to be the actual tire itself, but the entirety of the vehicle has to stay in a single lane of travel to safely travel. So if one of those rims crosses over the center line or the outside white line, then we can enforce a failure to maintain a lane of travel violation.
Also, referring to number 49 under the ordinance for introduction, when I brought this up at our last meeting, I hope I did not upset anyone. This is something that I've been championing since 2001 publicly. Privately, this was introduced into by the Southwest Louisiana delegation in 1999, and that's when I noticed that there were very few situations where African Americans, who were a large part of Lake Charles and Calcasieu Parish, were not being represented or would not have an opportunity to be representative. So I would like Mr. Morgan, to look at this very carefully. And if you say, well, the state, think about this, the state came up with the different categories that different appointees would fit into, but they never said anything about the racial makeup. And I have tried very hard not to make it a racial thing. I've tried to make it a situation where we have a table with the chair for other people to come into who have contributed very, very greatly to our area. And so if you find that, hey, they said, I checked with the state and the state said this or that, well, my next step would be, let's go through the state. Let's get a resolution sent to the Southwest Louisiana delegation and ask them to rethink how they put this together, which I don't think will work with the way the political scene is going now. But unfortunately, this is something that I'm going to keep fighting, whether I'm either here or somewhere else. But I really think it's time that we start looking at things like that. I think maybe it's just unconscious bias. We don't think that anybody else should fit in that category, or we got somebody else in mind. But I really think that we should broaden our horizon when we are appointing people, especially to this particular kind of board, because we do have different situations where African Americans have contributed very greatly and would probably love to serve. So I'm pushing that, and like I said, I don't want any of my colleagues up here to feel uncomfortable with what I'm saying. But I have heard stories from when I was a little girl. My grandmother's aunt would talk about the lumber mill, the rice mill, when my grandmother would talk about the entertainment that came through, I guess it was called the Chitlin Circus, where some of these stars became international stars, but we had a place on Enterprise Boulevard, the Bowery Hotel, where a lot of these stars stayed. You had Ball's Auditorium where the entertainment was presented. So, I mean, and those are just little things that I'm bringing up. But we fit in everywhere, and so I just really feel that I'm very thankful that the city took the opportunity. They grabbed the rein, and they appointed Ms. Majerus from the city, I think, and then we had Mr. Biko from Arts and Humanities. But the city is under no obligation to keep doing this. So that's why I would like to have it in law, saying that yes, we will make sure that everybody is represented in such a way, and hopefully this will work this time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. August. I got a few things. Number one, I would like to add the appointment for the Louisiana Community Development Authority to next week's agenda. What's the proper procedure? No objections, it goes? We'll add it on. Okay. Number two, we did that. I'd like to add some parking signs, no parking signs, to the streets and alleys in the Oak Park area. Well, first, I brought up some weeks ago about speed bumps on 2 streets that the residents have said they had speed bumps, and it's been some discrepancies of whether they had them, whether they're not. I don't think the residents are lying, and I don't think the department heads are lying, but you know, we need to work something out. In the meantime, I'd like to have some no parking signs put in each of those alleys for this reason. Those alleys are now becoming shortcuts. People are speeding through them, and you know, even in my alley, you can't drive with one car through the alley anyway, but people are parking on the sides of the alleys. The neighborhood is changing. I would just like to see something that keep us from being safe, because kids are playing out there. So I want to be conscious of that.
Excuse me, Mr. Morgan.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Morgan, I think we may need an ordinance for that, because if people are we put no parking signs up and we're writing tickets, I think we have to have an ordinance that will write the ticket.
That's right. No, we'll have to do no parking, and also, you said initially streets and alleys, you just
No,
talked
just the
about
alleys.
Okay,
Just the alleys.
Yeah, but we'll have to do it as an ordinance.
So we just need those locations from where to where, so we're
Okay.
specific of where you can't park.
I'll get that information too.
Okay.
Clarification,
Yes, sir.
now, there's probably, being that there's driveways all over, there's probably very few legal parking, well, there's likely very few legal parking spaces anyway.
It's
because
none.
this
The
is
ones I'm
so-
giving is
right.
none. And you be in somebody's yard.
So if you would, I mean, if it's already in ordinance, can we put signs up for information purposes potentially? Just a suggestion, I mean, you know, if you got driveways, if they're, staggered, you may have, in an alley that goes from 3rd Avenue to 4th Avenue, you might have 2 legal parking spots in the alley.
But I think those 2 legal parking spots that people are parking there, we should have an ordinance.
Oh, sure, oh, no,
So
I agree with, no,
I'll go ahead and do an ordinance.
I agree with that,
There's 2. I'd like to set a meeting with the housing authority, the new housing authority that has been established, so that we can get some of these issues that we've been having for quite some time. Maybe the month of June would be good, that we get with them. I don't know, how they're coming along thus far, but we need to catch them at the beginning. So if we could arrange that, that'll be good. For the,
Excuse me,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Marks, who else would you like in the meeting?
any of the council members that would like to be present, along with the new executive director and maybe the board, all of those that can make it.
Okay.
The Buddy Prejean Park, I'd like to have a copy of that rendering and the specs, if I can, before the bid is awarded. I'd also like to have a meeting with the chief and his chief deputies, along with all department heads. Maybe sometime in the month of June. Anybody, any council member that want to attend?
Is there any specific reason why you want to meet with them?
Yes, I want to talk about some city issues that we're having that I just think in the next coming years, these issues that we're having could escalate. And we want to get out in front of it. It's not I guess I just want to get the collective body, the department heads together so we can brainstorm, come up with some issues, some ways to remedy these problems, but also to change the narrative of things, in the community, whether it be how people look at the police department, how people look at the city. I'd like to see those things. We work on that to kind of change.
And Mr. Morris, you like all the departments, we have 7 departments, so all the
All the
departments,
department
7
heads,
departments.
as well as the chief and his deputy chiefs. And I say June, but that's at their convenience, whenever we can get a time. That's in June, July. Oh, we can invite them, it'd be legal. If anybody that won would be in at the time. Is that correct?
And they can welcome to come, it's whoever you want to invite to it.
Yes.
If you do it in June,
I would like to invite them, but not wait until they take office to have these things. Give them something to take office with. C-cans. We talked about C-cans a couple of weeks ago. There's a new ordinance in place. But I drive through my neighborhood and I see people starting to put C-cans in the street. And they're staying there for a period of time. I'm gonna have an address for you, Ms. Paula, because one of the houses that have it in front of it is a repeat violator of property standards. So, and with that being said, I'll have a list for you next week of houses that we violated last year and they still haven't, in my opinion, fixed the issues. So I think we need to revisit that. Also, property standards, I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but I have an issue because I'm seeing a lot of things in the Oak Park area, District F, and other areas that seem like they're just going by the wayside. I'll give you an example. Last week, a man on the corner of 21st and 3rd Avenue cut his grass and looked like he just transferred the grass to the street.
Into the street.
And it stayed there. The rain came, packed it up, and we setting ourselves up for drainage problems again. And we worked hard on that particular corner in and of itself. So I think we need to maybe have a meeting with the property standards inspectors, and come to an agreement of what we're gonna violate. And I don't wanna be petty, but some things are gonna catch up with us. The cars parked on the street, the grass being cut, some of the cars that we did a great job of making them get the covers. Now they've blown off and we're going into another summer with the same things and we're working them harder than we have to work them. If we just, I don't know what happened with the agreement we had with the marshal's office, that they could serve those people when they violated. I don't know if he went away from that or whatever happened with that, but we need to revisit that.
Mr. Marks,
Yes, sir.
are you referring to contractors we hire or just?
No, residents.
Just residents?
Residents. Yeah. In regards to something Mr. Harvey said, is it any way possible, Mr. Morgan, legally, before we give a completion of a bid or award the final payment, is it possible that, let me say it this way, can we write into the bids that before you receive your final payment, someone from the city has to, I know we say we do it, and maybe not, we don't always get to it, but we need to put some pressure on those contractors to know, we're gonna hold your money until we find out whether or not this job has be completed.
45-day lien period was that.
But that 45-day lien period doesn't hold them to anything. It's just a wait period of saying this project is pretty much completed. Is what the 45-day lien process is.
Right. It's already,
Go ahead, David.
that's already in the contracts.
And we're holding payment until that time's out.
Okay. Well, maybe we need to get an inspection team.
It might be,
Yeah.
it might be us having to inspect it and do a better job also.
Right. Okay. Let me see what else I got here. Got that. Dead speed bumps. Okay. Now, on another note, Mr. Harvey talked about narratives. I don't know if y'all paid attention. There was a post on social media last week. It was by a person by the name of Mr. Brad Broussard. And he said that he had a bad experience coming up to the city for learning about permits for small businesses and what have you not. Well, I reached out to him, and long story short, we came up here to the city Monday, I think it was Friday of last week. Walked him up there to purchasing, met with Christy and Kristen and their team. And I learned something I didn't know. There are contracts, small contracts, there are medium contracts, and there are big contracts. And all of these contracts don't go to the same purchasing agent. And he made a post, was pretty upset, but after he sat down with them and they explained what it is that's going on, he understood that. He came in and said he had a construction business. Well, construction is very, very broad. And when you talk about construction, most people, myself, I think about streets and sidewalks. I didn't think about fixing a hole in the wall or putting some doors on. And Christy and Kristen explained to us that that is a different level of a bid. And basically, long story short, they set him down and thoroughly showed him how all of this works. And he left out of the meeting thoroughly impressed. And he wanted to go and change his post and the Facebook, but I told him, no, not the time right now. So I just want us to make a concerted effort. I know we almost have to have for small businesses learning for dummies, because we put everybody in the same pack just on natural thinking. And I learned that for a bid, like a job may cost $10,000. Well, they're not gonna go to the same place that the person going for a street bid or a house bid. And then you have some bids that go out in community development that goes by a different standard. I think we need to just do a concerted effort for our small business. I think we have some programs coming up and make mention of that. Maybe have the Christies and the Kristen.
They'll be there.
Yeah, come and explain that. So I think that was real helpful. So I want to give my hats off to, I don't know what the department is, who's up, this Emily, that's your department? Oh, they got the big boss on the top. So it worked out. Yes, so that helped out real good. So again, with the council members that's coming in, or some of us, there's a lot of stuff we don't know, and we need to be educated on. So I want to take my hats off to them. That's all I have right now. So going forward, this is the portion of the meeting where we have the community speak. And up first is Mr. Miles. Please state your name and address for the record. Mr. Miles? Miles Brown?
Okay. Miles Brown, 1020 4th Avenue. I'm really curious on y'all's new updating policy when it comes to people that want to file complaints. Y'all say that y'all can send it to the legal department, or if people feel uncomfortable, go that way. And I made sure this time to follow your advice, Mr. Eckert, and just go to the legal department. So I'm saying that to say that March 7th, I did come to the legal department. I spoke with them on a public record that needed to get fixed. And I made sure to tell them, what the situation was. And I was told to just contact the police first. So I did. And within 3 days, I got an answer saying the best thing to do just was to file a complaint. I didn't want to file a complaint, but it was a record that needed to get amended. So ended up, a day later, we filed a complaint. I sent it over there myself. And I got a letter about a week later saying that they sent it over, the police sent it over to the legal department for additional review. So I'm fast forwarding about a month and a half later, and I went to the legal department. I asked, I would inquire every so often, every 2 weeks, to see what the situation was, because I have all the proof needed. I get the public records from y'all. I can prove it with the public records, whatever the case may be, body camera footage, you name it. And then I was told that I needed to resubmit my complaint all over again to the legal department for them to forward back to the police. So, I don't understand why these inaccuracies are happening. I paid some good money to get this complaint filed, and for whatever reason, it's still happening. Now, the only reason I can say is because maybe everything I put in there, I put a lot of papers in there showing the inaccuracies of what I was complaining about, but it just seems unfortunate that these things keep happening.
Well, Mr. Miles, if I followed you correctly,
Mm-hmm.
you said all what you said, and then you said you went to the police station,
Mm-hmm.
followed, did the report,
Mm-hmm.
they sent it over to the legal department.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the legal department in turn told you what your complaint is, you need to come file a complaint again and send it back to the police station, am I correct?
Well, they gave me this letter saying that the police, they sent it to the legal department. So I
Police
first,
did?
yeah, they sent it to the legal department, and then the legal department said, hey, we didn't really get it, can you send it back to us again? So I'm basically starting all over, you know what I'm saying? And I did everything just like the process.
If I may say so, the last time you came, if I remember correctly, we told you that we changed the process. The first place you go for a complaint is to file to the legal department, am I not correct?
No, you can do either one.
Either
Go
one?
to the legal department or go there, but I can short circuit this. His complaint's sitting on my desk, that's on me.
Okay,
I'll get to it when I have time to get to it.
okay.
Do
It's
you,
not a complaint about any individual, it's a complaint that the report is wrong.
Okay.
and there was some lies. And also, I just want to add, that paper, did you get the original papers that I put in there, or just the stuff that I just sent Thursday? Because
It's been sitting on my desk longer than since Thursday, so I assume
So
it's
you
the
got it.
original.
Okay, great. Well, I was told something differently, so that was the first thing I
Okay.
heard.
You got your answer?
That answer, yes.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
appreciate that. Another thing, I know y'all are working on body camera policy, and that's understandable. But for some reason, these things keep happening when I send random public records requests on body camera footage. And just recently, ironically, certain 5-minute sections that was really needed was just mistakenly lost again. And I don't understand why that keeps happening.
Did you file for your records?
Yeah,
File for it?
I filed for it.
They
everything.
replied, and 5 minutes was still missing?
5 minutes were still missing. 5 minutes were still missing. And I know why they did it, because they said some stuff on there before they came up and talked to me. So they didn't want to show that part. So, but the point of it is, it's on the body camera footage. They might say, well, it's lost, but these things still keep happening. So that's just, I wanted to just address that too.
Mr. DC Gode, he doesn't have your phone number. Can you leave your phone number so that he can give you a call?
I have his email. We email each other. So,
Would it be possible for you to leave a phone number for him to call you?
yeah, I'll do
He
that.
he can explain for you again why why video
Right.
doesn't always exist.
Why these things keep happening. That's fine. Okay. And then last but not
Hold on.
least,
I have a question, Mr. Miles, I admire anyone who takes advantage of the Freedom of Information Act, I really do, and I admire you, but I'm curious, you come here just about every meeting, and you complaining about not getting information. What is it you expect? I'm still trying to understand where you never explain what your complaint is about, and you just keep saying you don't get your information, and sometimes you use the pronoun we. So who, are you working with someone, or is it an organization trying to prove a point, or I just don't understand where you're coming from, and I mean no harm, I'm just for my information.
well, I'll just say this: being a group of people, we just like to know what's going on. So,
Yeah.
And I'm like a person that likes to know information as well. So, you know, and this is a First Amendment. Well, I say First Amendment. This is a constitutional thing
Yeah.
that we're allowed as citizens to do. We like to know information. I get information not from the city, but from the state and other places as well. So I just like to be informed. The only thing that really just upsetting is that, you know, we pay for this stuff, and this stuff still keeps happening. You know, anytime you run a business and you pay for something and they give you the wrong thing, you ask for it back, or you know something, and it just, these things just keep occurring.
So when he pays for something and he doesn't get his information, is he okay to ask for a refund?
If he doesn't get information, but he's getting information.
Not all of it. That's what it is.
I talked to DC Gode 30 minutes before this meeting. There was a traffic stop, this is what he's referring to, a traffic stop that he was not involved in, Mr. Brown was not involved in. It involved a training officer and a trainee. When they go back to their unit and the training officer is telling the trainee what he may or may not have done correctly, it's okay for them to turn off their body cam. It has nothing to do with the traffic stop. That's the video that's missing, that's what it is.
Well, I'll say this, they gave me some extra footage that was not even really with the situation. So what happened is that after they got done with their traffic stop, they drove from 200 yards away just to come and inquire as to why I was watching them. Now, I don't know why they did that, maybe it was an intimidation move, but it was interesting.
That didn't involve you at all, right?
No, it didn't.
Okay. Are you saying that you would like to be on every occasion when we have something like that going on? You want to know the full detail of what's going the investigation, right?
This investigation somewhat had to do with my original reason why I always come here, was over a stop sign, because they had caught somebody driving bad. So obviously I wanted to see what was going on.
So you wanted what from that?
I wanted to see, I wanted to just know originally just what happened as to why I was speeding, because that would have been a time where I would have came up here and just, said, look, this speeding keeps happening.
Yeah, but I think you're going a little bit beyond, because officers have their work to do. And you might be observing them or something like that, but if they do something that's not pleasing to you, every time that something like this happens, it's just not kosher for you to question their procedures.
I didn't question their procedures. They came to me. I didn't say nothing to them. I was just in my area. They came from 200 yards away to drive near me. So I didn't distract them or say nothing to them.
Okay, and they came to you.
Yeah, they came to me. And this is
What
all,
did they tell you?
I believe y'all you got video of that as well, right?
they put that part. They skipped over the part where they came up to me 5 minutes before that to talk about me because they were waving at me. And then afterwards they wanted to come and they kind of basically sworn me and tried to inquire as to why I was looking at them.
And it was apparently a friendly conversation.
It was a phony conversation, but that's the point of it is that they tried to skip over these 5 minutes.
Excuse me one second. Mr. Miles, you said that the purpose of you wanting that information was for that stop sign. To show that,
Yeah,
that
at that time,
traffic.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, did you get any information to prove that there needs to be a stop sign there?
This was about 6 months ago, so that was just building more evidence to. You see
That's what I'm
saying?
asking. Do you have the evidence to support that we need a stop sign there?
I just got the stuff recently, but I'll add this to it. Once I got the information, there was somebody speeding past that stop sign. They didn't even stop at all. So
Do you have
that's the
that
time.
evidence? Everybody was filming.
Mhm.
Do you have that evidence to show that we need to put a stop sign there?
Not right there, no. Not in that incident, no.
Okay.
That incident, no.
But,
What you say?
but the premise of all of this was to prove that there was a stop sign needed to be put there.
In that area, yes.
Okay.
In that area.
But out of all of this, we have no proof of that stop sign, which is what you set out to do.
Yeah, at the time, because when that was 6 months ago, I just saw that they was pulling somebody over in the area, and it was for driving violation.
Okay.
So all I wanted to know was just know as to was it speeding,
Okay.
whatever the case may be.
Are
So that's what
do
it
you
was.
have something else?
Yeah, I have one last thing.
Can I add to that?
Yes, sir.
So there wasn't a stop sign that was run. There's people speeding there, and I've had experience with this. A stop sign is not a deter, well,
It deters.
it's
people from stopping.
not, stop signs are not put in place to regulate speed. It's to control an intersection that needs to be controlled, and I've heard different studies that say that if you put a stop sign where it shouldn't be, all it's gonna have is they're gonna speed more from, if they had to stop there, just gonna speed faster from that stop sign to the next intersection they have to stop at. Now, you could argue whether that, you agree with that, if that's what the traffic engineers say. But so, I guess what I'm getting at is that stop signs are not meant to regulate speed, they're meant to control an intersection that needs to be controlled.
And I understand, like I said, we had that conversation April 8th,
Right.
and we had a good conversation. So, I mean, I've come to terms, with the whole process, and y'all told me, it's a different perspective. So I'm not complaining about that now. I was bringing that up because you had asked about, why I was wanting to inquire on this stuff. Now, you did say stop signs, and I'm glad y'all said that because, I've been coming here for 2 years for a stop sign and whatever the case may be. But let me ask y'all this. Is it okay for a police officer to drive right past a stop sign when there's no emergency? because
Or kick in the drive-through.
rare, when there's no emergency.
Drive through a stop sign?
Yeah, because this just happened a few days ago. And now it's, you know, just anybody that's doing it.
But is that the issue you're talking about right now? Is that
Yeah,
your-
that issue just happened. And the thing is, like I said, this happened, I've been saying how, you know, children's lives are at stake, but even police are doing it. I got it all on film. So my question is, who do I report this to? If I feel scared to go to the police, do I go to them or do I go to the legal department? Because
You
if
report
they're
it.
doing it,
If you've got a complaint, he can come to the legal department and file a complaint.
that's fine. So I can show y'all the footage and you can get that too?
Bring us whatever you have.
All right, that's fine with me. Thank y'all so much for y'all's time.
Thank you. Mr. Carlton Mitchell, Jr. State your name and address for the record, please. Yes.
Yeah, my name is Carlton Mitchell, 1406 15th Street. I want to start off by saying that we lost a good city council person, Mr. August. You've been good to our neighborhood. You did what we asked you to when it was time to do it. And we're going to miss you because we got 2 new persons in the runoff. I want to go ahead and say that we have a problem in our neighborhood. I heard the brother said earlier about the sewer smell. We have certain trucks that dumps the can. They leaking all over the neighborhood, especially from 4th Avenue to wherever the Tuesdays route is past Enterprise. And it's all over the neighborhood, and that's a hazard. That stuff stinks. We can't go outside and sit on our patio or nothing because that truck is delivering this stuff all over the neighborhood. They fixed it one time, but that same old truck keep passing again. And the driver even said that it's a used truck, it was a spare truck that they are using. And it's just our neighborhood, because I'm unemployed and I drive around the neighborhood and stuff, and it's just in that certain part of Oak Park that we gotta smell this garbage, and that stuff need to be corrected. I sent Miss August plenty of videos, months and months of videos of that. I have some, and they need to correct that stuff. They
Mr.
keep
Mitchell.
telling me they're gonna correct it, and it's not being done.
What's the date of your trash delivery in your area?
Tuesdays,
Tuesdays.
What's your address in Oak Park?
1406 15th Street.
Okay.
And I'm not, the other neighbors can't show up, but they all complaining from Astor Street back. It's in the neighborhood. Today, they were supposed to send a street sweeper. We ended up rinsing the road off ourselves because flies. Everybody on my street, we are dead end street. We clean our trash can to keep the flies away, and it helps. When everybody in the neighborhood clean their can, the flies are gone. But today, flies came from all over Lake Charles, right there in that neighborhood, because of the stuff that's all over the place.
But Mr. Mitchell, that truck usually have a number on it, identification number. Would you get that number, identify that number, and contact the appropriate people? Who shall he
I did.
contact in regards to that?
We'll pass it along to Ms. Dowden.
And they can probably, I don't know, but if they have to use that truck, they have to use that truck to get the work done in that neighborhood. Maybe we can have some disinfectant chemicals that we can have on that truck that will help with the scent and.
But what it is that the truck is leaking.
Yeah.
They trying to weld it. I called today. I was talking about the mayor's hotline. They do take care of their business because they send me to the right department when I call. And it's just the people at Public Works that you have the problem, explain. The man even came out there and looked at it. I'm gonna send a sweep out there. But that truck shouldn't be leaking. It don't leak in all the other neighborhoods. I follow some of these trucks. They got brand new trucks now, drip of oil. It's not only the trash, that truck leaking oil and everything. That's a hazard.
Okay.
It is.
Well, I'm sure that with your complaint coming in, I'm sure they'll address your complaint because that's not what we want to happen.
Exactly.
In your neighborhood.
I hope so, sir, but today's not the first day. I've been doing this for months. Mr. August got all the films, the number of the truck, even the truck driver, I got it. He even said that, that truck shouldn't be leaking.
Mr. Cardone, can we make some adjustments, and meet with him after the meeting?
I'm assuming this happened Tuesday, and as Mr. Morgan said, I'll check with Ms. Dowden tomorrow and find out which truck it was and why it's leaking.
Okay, good.
That's fine.
Okay?
Yeah, thank y'all for y'all time.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Any other comments from the council? Mr. Harvey?
I'm sorry. I don't want to leave. I don't know who was responsible for it. I don't know if it's Delta Falls or Parks or Rec. I don't know who it was, but hats off to you guys for organizing the event with the helping of the grand opening for Balls. That was a good event. It's good to see that business back, and it was good to see the city partner with a business to promote them. So hats off to you guys. I know that family, that neighborhood appreciated that, and it was a good day out there. It was a beautiful day. So thank y'all for that.
That was a collaboration between the city small business opportunity program and